Our guest speaker this evening is Tereasa Dale, has spent her life using her personal and professional experience to give individuals a second chance for success in life. For the past 10 years, Tereasa has worked as an instructional coordinator for Pitt Community College Transitional Studies. Tereasa's passion for building a bridge for individuals seeking to rise above hardship and all aspiring through Pitt Community College Transitional Study Program. She has empowered many of her students to continue their education. Under her guidance, many students have pursued and received their high school equivalence diploma. And I'm just going to give a little bit. She has so many things here, so I'm just going to do a little snippet of her. Tereasa has, she's the youngest of 14 children. She received a bachelor's degree in family and community service from East Carolina University, completed her adult education certificate through the North Carolina Community College system, and received her early childhood education credentials from Shaw University in Raleigh, North Carolina. She served as an employment specialist job developer for East Carolina Vocational Center in Greenville, North Carolina. Tereasa also served as the first instructional coordinator for Pitt Community College for individuals with intellectual challenges. She's inspired daily by her faith, by her family, her husband, Clayton, and 3 children. Her hobbies are baking, music, and interior decorating. So I present to you Tereasa Dale. Okay, so you're on now.
Thank you, Ms. Doris. And thank you everyone for inviting me to come and allowing me to speak to you to share in honoring Basic Education and Literacy Month. I certainly do appreciate the invitation, and I'm just excited to meet all of you. And I want to start tonight off with a quote. And this quote is by Carl Sagan. Frederick Douglass taught that literacy is the path from slavery to freedom. There are many kinds of slavery and many kinds of freedom, but reading is still the path. My subject, looking at the fact that this is Basic Education and Literacy Month, and this is something that I feel so strongly about, and I believe that you do too, I know you do too. It's literacy, changing lives today for a better tomorrow. And looking at Carl Sagan's quote, I think about this. You see, if we can read, we can move. If we can't read, we can't move. We're stagnant. We're standing still and we're watching life pass us by. We don't know what direction we should go in, and we don't know, in other words, we don't know if we should go left or right. We don't know whether we should go up or down because we can't read the signs or understand the directions. We don't know the hows, the whats, the whens, the wheres, or the whos, because we don't know how to use the skills to know what to do and when to do it. Therefore, we don't have purpose. Folks, in the last 10 years of my life, I have met and worked with some of the most brilliant-minded, the most brilliant minds and hearts that I have ever in my life encountered. Some of these beautiful people came to the Transitional Studies Program knowing what they wanted and were ready to pursue it. Some of them came not knowing what they wanted or even why they were there or here. So many times in orientation, I think about our 16 and 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds when asked, why are you here? So many of them would tell me, I'm here because my mama said I have to be here. Some of them said, my probation officer said, I need to be. But for whatever reason, they came. They were there. Then some students came to the Transitional Studies Program and they didn't know what they needed, but they knew they needed something. They knew they had to have something. Something was missing. But you know what? Every single one of them found their path through education, particularly literacy, because nothing is learned if literacy isn't there. So it's simple. Literacy changes lives. I mean, as I said earlier, if we can't read, we can't move. So if we can't read, we can't move. We become stagnant. So just think about that. You can't read the signs or the directions, as I said, because we can't follow instinct because we don't know what it's telling us to do. But there is a remedy. There's a solution. There is an answer. And that answer will always lead back to education and the path to literacy, because everything starts with literacy. For example, you may want to be a teacher, but you can't do it if you can't read. You may want to be a lawyer, but you can't do it if you can't read. You may want to be a business person or, own your own business, but you can't if you can't read. We can't be successful in these things if we can't read. So all learning starts with literacy. Math, science, social studies, reading, writing, art, technology, all of it. It all starts with literacy. Changing lives today for a better tomorrow. Now, so how does literacy change people's lives? Now, there's a bunch of different ways, and Ms. Doris has already told me I only have a few minutes. So I know we can't go through every single thing because the list is so long, and how literacy changes people's lives. But thinking about what I do, I want to just talk about 4 points on tonight. And the first one is this: literacy lifts individuals out of poverty. We already know that deficient basic reading and writing skills is a big hindrance. It's a tremendous hindrance in today's society. Literacy not only enriches a person's life, but it sparks the development of skills that will help them provide for themselves and their family. This puts me in mind of a student, one of my students that used to be in one of my classes. When I think about how literacy lifts people out of poverty. This particular student lived at the community shelter here in Greenville. And he attended class walking distance from where he lived. This student didn't miss class for nothing in the world. He was always there and always on time. Well, all of a sudden, the instructor and I noticed that this student was missing a lot of classes. So one day I was at the class site and he came, and so we decided to have a conversation. And he explained to me, he said, my time is almost up from living at the shelter. And I've been trying to find a job, and I've been trying to find a place to live. And I'm having a hard time, because if I don't find somewhere to live, and if I don't find a job, if I don't find somewhere to live, I'm gonna be back on the street. He wasn't from here, he was from Durham. I'm gonna be back on the street. I don't have any family around me. And if I don't find a job, I'm not gonna be able to take care of myself. So this is what we did. Me and the instructor decided, now he wasn't the only one in the class that needed a job or needed somewhere to live or needed a better place to live. We looked at things and we decided that what we were gonna do is gear those lessons around employability skills. So what we did is we taught, for instance, thinking about literacy, reading, writing, science, social studies, math, all of those different things that make up literacy. We taught those different areas in the context of employability skills. Resume writing, subject-verb agreement, putting your sentences together so that they make sense, completing job applications. We even used our community resources. We took field trips to the Career Center here in Greenville, the North Carolina Career Center here in Greenville, NC Works. We had conversations so that, they would be prepared for interviews. We, being able to stick to the point and converse and whatnot. We worked on skills such as being mindful, how to handle yourself in adverse situations, and how to meet a person and respect other people's opinion. Speaking of respect, being respectful to people, being using manners. All of these different things we talked about in class. So needless to say, okay, moving forward, that young man got a job. That young man found himself a place to live. He found an apartment and he found a job. He didn't have to leave class like he thought he was going to have to. My baby passed 3 of his GED tests. Not only that, y'all, he had to move. He ended up having to leave us before he finished the whole thing. He ended up having to go back to Durham. Listen to this, because his father got sick. So he went back to Durham to look after his dad. So me and my husband were in Durham and we went to this restaurant on business and we went to get something to eat. Went to this restaurant and who spotted me across the restaurant? My student. He came to me and it just blew me away. Y'all, I didn't even know who he was. He looked so good. He looked so confident and he looked so strong and so at peace, so content. And I was so excited because he told me that he passed that last GED test. And he was about to enroll. He had just recently passed it. And he was about to enroll in the community college to get his associate's degree. So I was so tickled. So, and then he says to me, it just touched my heart because he says to me, oh yeah, and he was staying with his dad and taking care of his dad. He said, Ms. Staton, I don't know what I would have done. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go, what to do. Here's those spots, where's when's house. I didn't know how I was going to do it. And I just was, it seemed like everything was just spiraling out of control. And he said, but you wrapped your arms around me. Y'all wrapped your arms around me. You didn't let me go. And I appreciate you for that. He said, I hold y'all close to my heart all the time. Now, y'all knew my eyes were watering up. My husband asked him, he said, you said you're about to enroll in college. What do you want to study? He looked at both of us and he said, Mr. Staton, I want to be a teacher because I want to help people the way my teacher and Miss Staton helped me. I want to do what transitional studies did for me. So that did something to me. That spoke volumes, because he's not in Greenville. He's in Durham. He's reunited with his family. He went back as a new person, a more responsible person, and a more well-respected person. I just wanted to share that that's one way that literacy can lift a person out of poverty. Moving right along, because I could stay on that and my eyes could get watery. The second point, literacy positively impacts economic growth beyond the local community. Beyond local community. People who are literate, they embrace higher expectations of themselves. They think outside the box. Like my student, you know, they taste the rainbow and envision themselves on a higher plane. This empowers the person as well as the village, and we all know that it takes a village. The benefits cover everybody, not just that one house, but everybody's house. So everybody becomes better and the community thrives. The impact of improving literacy not only has a positive economic impact at a local and community level, but the productivity of the workforce, it flourishes by enhancing economic strength, and economic growth continues. The third point I want to make is that literacy reduces mortality rates and promotes overall healthy lifestyles. Illiteracy directly affects an individual's health and well-being. So the importance of education on physical health is big, it's crucial. Those without education are more likely to be vulnerable to health problems like increased, I'm messing up. For example, increased schooling reduces the risk of drug addiction, diseases like HIV, diabetes, cancer. In fact, according to one study, women, this was done on women, literate women are 3 times more likely than illiterate ones to practice habits that keep them healthy. Infant mortality rates drop significantly for women who have had primary education, and even more for those who complete secondary school. It's estimated that infant mortality decreases 9% for every year of education attained. This is because girls and women are able to educate themselves on health issues, which can help reduce the cycle of poverty from repeating itself. Okay? Literacy, this is the fourth point. Literacy empowers individuals. Literacy empowers individuals. Breaking the cycle of literacy and improving self-esteem is so important to everybody. It's vital to everybody. By enabling them to become economically productive and independent, they become empowered and can take control of their lives. They can start thinking for themselves and making some good decisions for themselves and for their families. The importance of education is fostering personal autonomy, and creative and critical thinking skills is central to building our world. Now, you heard just a little bit from me. I'd like to introduce you to 3 of those brilliant-minded people, those beautiful people that I told you about, that I've met, and that I've had the opportunity to work with. And I'd like for them to share with you just a little bit of their experiences and a little bit of their story. And I want you to consider them my PowerPoint. because that's what they are. We are all here together, and we are social distancing, But I'm going to, as they speak, I want each one of you, now y'all, we only got a little bit of time. I want you to say who you are, and I want you to tell a little bit of your story, okay? Okay, Shanita, I'm gonna start with you, okay? I don't know if you can see her.
I see her.
You see it? Okay, go ahead, dear.
My name is Shanita Newton. I'm in Pitt Community College. I work under the Human Service Technology Substance Abuse Counselor.
Slow down.
Entering Pitt had really changed my life because I had transitioned from a life that lived in the streets to addiction, to me being in an abusive relationship. I had been through a lot, and God really had helped me get myself through this. And with the help of Miss State and Pitt, I had went and got get my GED. Now I'm enrolled in college. Now I'm working and everything, becoming a better mother than what I used to be. And I'm a living testimony. I don't look nowhere like I used to be. I'm nowhere where I used to be at. And thanks to Pitt and Miss State. I'm kind of nervous right now because my first time doing
Okay.
But just know that God, I just know that as long as you keep the faith and keep on pushing, God will see you through. And I'm a living testimony to show you that how God brought me out of my situation. And I never gave up. I kept on pushing. No matter how many obstacles came in my life, I threw that baseball bat. I threw that baseball out the ballpark. I curved it out there, and I let the devil know he can't have my life. He cannot have it. So that's it, really.
Shanita,
Thank you.
Shanita, I want to add, has a 3.475, 3.2, I'm carrying up, a 3.2 GPA. And she attended class at one of our community centers right there walking distance from her. We partnered with the city of Greenville. She attended one of the community classes at Greenville Housing Authority. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yes, indeed. And our next person will be Johnny Mccarter.
How's everyone?
Oh, good.
Great. So, as she introduced me, my name is Johnny Mccarter. My story starts off born to parents that had like 8th grade education, not really knowing to teach us education, but more of a threat pattern that we grew up in. And with that said, we grew up not knowing how to study or how to care about our education. So, and then going through life of meeting teachers that really didn't put forth the effort in our education. I can think of so many situations I was put in that, teachers just didn't do what they were supposed to do. So therefore I would go home and take my study homework home with me and not knowing how to do it and go back and of course get bad grades. To make a long story short, it caught up with me in high school, and I finally had enough of it and let it down, quit my education and live life accordingly to the streets, I guess I can say. Nieces and nephews came along in my life, trying to teach them how to go through their education, which it brought back to me how I was raised and how I kind of pushed them through. So therefore, it encouraged me to go back to school, do better for myself, and also be an example for them. And thank God to Miss Tereasa. I only mentioned to her one time what I wanted to do, because I tried the program in the early 90s, which you had to grab a piece of card or something, and you have to just sit down according to your card or what they thought that was made for you, and you approach it like that. With this day and time, with the instructor in the class and teaching you ways to go and things to do and focusing in on your weakness, it was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience for me. Like I said, Miss Tereasa took in heart and mind of what I wanted and catered to me through the instructors that she had there. And I miss Miss Cohen.
Miss Collins.
I'm sorry, but I have to mention her name because she's God sent.
Wonderful
And,
teacher.
So Miss Cohen, you know, I can say took me by the hand and she carried me through this program along with Miss Teresa leading and Miss Cohen teaching. So, but it's a wonderful situation experience that I went through, and I would encourage anyone from this day forward to get their GED and go forward with it. I have nothing negative to say about it.
That's awesome. I just wanted to add about Johnny. Johnny he became the backbone of his class. He has encouraged so many students to, if they stop going, he's in touch with them to tell them, y'all, you gotta keep pushing, you gotta keep trying, you gotta do this. He's done, but he's still pushing students to get back in there, even through the pandemic. And Shanita is tutoring students and whatnot and helping them to get their GED. So in the community classes, they become testimonials to other students to persuade them to come on and let's get this done. I'm so proud of them, y'all. Now, last but not least is another young man. And this is the last gentleman that wants to share his story with me. Can you see him?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Abraham Skazwe. As you can tell, my accent, I'm from Zambia, which is in Africa, southern part of Africa. And I grew up in a family of 9, that including my mom and dad, so 7 siblings. And being the youngest, education came a little bit difficult because by the time I was getting to my 4th grade, my dad already retired. And at that point, it was perceived that my brother, who was the oldest in the family, could have taken up the role of helping me out. But it never happened that way. So I only went until the 9th grade. And so moving forward, I became a volunteer to help those that are hearing impaired, teaching the Bible in sign language. And that enabled me in a way to meet my wife. And we ended up moving from Zambia to Buffalo, New York, which we had an assignment there for 1.5 years. And now being volunteers, we were cared for by the organization. And so when that assignment ended, we ended up moving here in North Carolina, in Greenville, where we continued doing volunteer work. But now since we were not under the care of the organization, we were supposed to be looking after ourselves. Now that came back to education, because at the time, any work that you can find really with the 9th grade education, it'll be minimum wage. And to be able to take care of oneself, it becomes a challenge. Now that's why Ms. Tereasa comes in, because I tried to go to Pitt Community College to get my GED started. So the first attempt, I started online. I only managed maybe 3 months. It didn't work because of the pressure of work. Then 1 year later, I tried again online, it just didn't work. So my 3rd attempt was in 2018. And so again, I had a tough schedule. So I had to explain to Ms. Tereasa that I really need this to work. So despite my challenging schedule, she made sure that I was able to attend the evening class and the morning classes so that I can be able to manage. Because she noticed that I really wanted to have my education done. So Ms. Cohen, Ms. Kramza, and Ms. Harley, they were very, very instrumental, because one of the slogan that I was given was, quitting is not an option, which I took to heart, because at this point, plan B, this was my only plan to get this done. And so with the help with Ms. Tereasa and the instructors, I was able to complete my GED in about 8 months. And then I enrolled in college. So right now I'm in the 4th semester doing automotive system technology at Pitt Community College. With all that, I'm still trying to work full time, having some also struggles because last year my mom got sick back home with a stroke. And she's always asking when I'm gonna go and see her. I can just drop school and take off and leave. I just try to be in contact with her as much as I can.
That's right.
But with all being said, I really recommend this program because it has helped me tremendously. Because I know once I graduate with an associate degree, I won't be paying much attention that, my pocket is so low. Probably be able to get a chance to go and see my family back home, which I really want to because my mom, her health being failing, I want to be there, but, I can't. So with all those struggles, but I tried to focus on my education because like I said, this is not plan B, this is my only plan A, and I wanted to get it done. And so I feel honored that I was among the students that Ms. Tereasa stuck with and helped me through even some assignments that I had in class. She's a busy woman, but she took time to help me out with some of the assignments I had in class. So she's been a rock, and she has taken me as her son. So I feel honored to be part of the family.
That's right.
Oh, good. That's good. Awesome.
Just to add a little piece to what Abraham just said, when Abraham finished the program and was preparing to go to college, someone broke in his apartment and just helped themselves to what he had worked so hard to accumulate. And they just ramshacked his apartment and just stole from him. But today, the story is different. Abraham has his own house.
Wow, awesome.
I'm tickled about that, and he's still in school. Y'all, I didn't know any better way than to help tell what the Transitional Studies Program, the classes on campus and off campus, we try to meet the students' needs, whatever they are. Independent study, whatever it is, this class may not be the best fit for this person, this kind of class, but if that one isn't the best fit, then there is another one out there for you. And with that being said, our classes on campus and our classes off campus, we have instructors that are equipped to care and carry our students through if they want to go. Sometimes they want to go, but they don't know how. So I love it that our program is a program of another chance and another chance and another chance. And you know what I mean? It never ends. And somewhere along the line, education allows literacy to take place so that those students can find their path. I don't know how I'm doing on time, but I'm almost done here.
Okay.
I just want to say, in closing, I'd like to leave you with one last quote, and this one is by the Reverend Jesse Jackson. And it says, both tears and sweat are salty, but they render, both tears and sweat are salty, but they render a different result. Tears will get you sympathy, sweat will get you change. Literacy, changing lives today for a better tomorrow. I thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. But Ms. Staton, you forgot to say that they all received a scholarship. So that's important. I think that the other Rotarians will be interested in hearing that as well about the students.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Every year, to all of the students who graduate after the last graduation, for the next academic year, when we usually have graduation, because of the pandemic, we didn't this year. But we usually give a scholarship, and the scholarship is called the Jennifer Knight Memorial Scholarship. It's given to a student, a deserving student who plans to pursue their education and get their associate's degree. It's called the Jennifer Knight Memorial Scholarship because Jennifer Knight is a student. I never knew the student, but I was told the story, and I hope I get it exactly as I was told. But Jennifer Knight was a student that finished the program, the Transitional Studies Program. At the time, it was called Basic Skills. She completed and had started on her associate's degree. And there was ice on the road from a snowstorm, you know, the residue from a snowstorm. And Jennifer Knight had an accident on her way to class and had a car accident. And she died in the car accident. From that point on, her family honors her by awarding a student that finishes the Transitional Studies Program with a scholarship. And I am so proud to say, since we're talking about that all three, and I hadn't even thought about that when I invited them to come, that all three of these individuals that are sitting here around me right now are all three recipients of the Jennifer Knight Memorial Scholarship. We honor her. She's been gone for a long time, but we honor her along with her family by awarding that student. So we hope that the Transitional Studies Program, we hope that we are making her family proud. And we hope that these students do the same.
All right. Thank you so much. Eve, can you help me to share the certificate? Eve.
I can tell you how to, but I don't have.
Okay. Well, where do I go get it?
So if you share your screen and then
Okay.
just navigate to, it'll give you a bunch of different boxes. Do you have the certificate pulled up?
No, I don't. Well, I just have to mail it to her then because I can't. Okay, I'm going to mail it to you. Well, I have a certificate. I can pull it up on my phone, but I can't pull it up. Wait a minute. I think this may. This is it.
You can do it, Doris.
Oh, where is it?
I always, it's good to have it up there, but sometimes you can't find it anyway.
Yeah, I can't find it. Well, anyway, Ms. Stan, we have a certificate to thank you for your inspiring speaking today, and we usually give a certificate. So since I can't find it, I'm going to send it to you, and that way you can get it. So we thank you. So does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions?
I just want to say thank you so much. Really fantastic. I went to school down in Grayville and Dill School. Pitt Community College it's gorgeous. Top notch. Love it down there. So thank you for all you do. I know they really appreciate it, and I can tell just from listening to their stories tonight.
Thank you so much. And let me say thank you for the certificate, and thank you so much for allowing us to come and share our stories. Thank you so much.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I wanted to put in a plug for all of you who've gone through this program. I'm a first year library science student at NCCU, and all of you would make fantastic librarians. I'm just saying. So It's great to hear your stories. Thank you.
And hearing your stories also, it just put our title for the month, Basic Literary right in place. It's always good to have a story. Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Anything? Okay, let me stop recording.